What is going on, everyone? Game of Thrones is officially back. Holy fuck. Pardon my French. We've been waiting, like 561 days for this new show, for this new season, the finale season, and I'm so excited to be here talking about it. I'm going to be dissecting each and every episode leading up to the finale. If you guys are new here, well, consider hitting that like and subscribe button so you guys can come back every week and we can have a great Game of Thrones discussion. But again, guys, this is going to be pretty much me just going through the pros, the cons, what I think is going to happen within the next episode, and kind of giving a little bit of insight into what I enjoyed about this episode. Now, this episode, episode 1 for season 8, it was a typical normal episode, you know? It was the typical runtime, and a lot of things that happened in this episode is exactly what I thought was going to happen in this episode. No giant big surprises yet, but some really cool moments. And actually, we got How to Train Your Dragon live action here. I mean, come on. We got Daenerys and Jon. We had Jon actually riding a dragon for the very first time, and that was goosebumps going all around my arms. And there's a couple moments in here where I did get goosebumps, but the first part that I actually want to start out with in this episode is from the beginning of the show. From the beginning of this show, we do see Arya. She's watching as all the guards, all the Dothraki, all the Unsullied are all marching in. And it's a great little reunion, getting her reactions to certain people. We get to see her reaction to Daenerys and Jon. She has a little bit of a smile. Then all of a sudden the Hound walks up, which is a big reunion that I've been looking forward to for such a long time, since that storyline throughout the whole show is one of my favorites. I was a little like, the way that her reaction changed. Then she sees Gendry, and she gets more excited about that. And then we kind of just go through the episode. There's reunions, people meeting up with each other that they haven't seen in forever. And, you know, again, typical stuff that I knew they were going to get established within this first episode. That's kind of where a lot of my pros lie. This was a great first episode for this brand new season, and I really thoroughly enjoyed the whole entire thing. I do have one little con, and it's not really a con for the episode, but I'm wondering how they're going to handle it throughout the rest of the season, which, let's just address it from the start. Since I only have one con, and the rest of the episode I really much dug, and I was sitting there in my seat with goosebumps, shivering, shaking with excitement and enjoyment, because Game of Thrones is officially back. Come on, you guys are just like me. If we're talking about my one con for the episode, my one con perhaps that I did not love that much was the Theon and Yara. I love that. I love Yara's character. That's the deal. I love Yara's character. But I was expecting her to get rescued a couple episodes in. It felt very rushed. And that's kind of how the last season was. It felt rushed as they're trying to get to the back half, trying to finish the season. And that's one of my worries for this one. Now, the pacing was fast in here. It wasn't as fast as the first one was yet, but again, that is one of my cons. They kind of rushed that whole storyline, you know, Theon going after to save Yara. It was a nice little reunion between them, and I love where Theon's character is gone. He's a very well-written character in the whole Game of Thrones mythos. I wanted a little bit more from that, and I'm actually really curious to see if that's the end of Yara, if we'll ever see her again. I actually happen to think that that's it for her storyline. I think that's it, and it feels very anticlimactic. Now, again, we see Theon is going over to Winterfell, and he'll probably show up in the next episode, since time travel and moving pretty fast is pretty much established in this universe, and I do like that Theon is going to Starks. I actually have a prediction that he will end up dying for one of the Starks. Most likely Sansa or Arya, or probably even Jon Snow of anything, but he's not a Stark. That we find out in the last season, now he finds out in this season, which we'll get to with one of my pros. But I want a little bit more from that, and I really appreciate Yara's character, and I wanted more from her. So I'm hoping personally, I mean, it won't be a con of mine if down the road in the next couple of episodes, since we only have 5 more, until Game of Thrones is officially gone forever.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Let's get to my pros, of course. I loved all the reunions in here, and even the characters meeting up with each other. Some of the reunions that really stuck out was Tyrion and Sansa. Their little banter back and forth on the balcony of them talking about the last time they saw each other was at Joffrey's funeral, and it was a nice touch, because he was like, you know, it's not really nice when your wife walks out and leaves after you know, he dies. I like the banter with Tyrion and Sansa and that whole entire scene. I really think that his dynamic with her has always been one of my favorite parts, especially when they were together around season 4 and season 3. And I like that they established that. And I really like to see, like, Sansa became, like, when she was first established in the show, I hated her character. But she's become such a strong, independent, character that I just love every single time she's on screen, and she's very committed. She's hardened as well. She's gone through so much, whether it's with Ramsay, Joffrey, or even Cersei, and even witnessing everything that happened with her father. There's so much hardship behind her, and I love that now at this point we see where she's at and a lot of the dynamics that goes within her character. Of course, her first time meeting Daenerys, she's a little cold-hearted towards her, and Daenerys feels that. Her and Jon's banter back and forth with how Jon left, but his main priority is defending the North. And I like, again, those dynamics. But personally, here's my thing. My favorite reunion out of all these, I mean, Sam and Jon was a pretty damn good one. I really like that one, and I love seeing Sam Tarly show up. But my God, it was great to see Arya and Jon meet back up again. It was great to see they're together, but I loved Arya and the Hound. I mean, you see the two pops I have. They're two of my favorite characters in the whole entire show. And the way that their dynamic went was exactly how I dreamed of it being. Can we kind of ship Gendry and Arya? Like, if they don't end up together, I won't get mad. But I really like their dynamic with each other as well. And I can't wait to see this weapon that he's building. It's another nice thing to see that Gendry is crafting the weapons. He crafted a weapon for the Hound. Can't wait to see that get smashed into some people. And, of course, it's nice to see that he's probably going to be building this weapon for Arya. And, of course, we can go to some of the other characters. Bran's still acting kind of weird, but one of the other big takeaways I had from this episode is, again, Daenerys and Jon's relationship. It is furthering forward, and I liked how they showed that. They have a really nice dynamic and chemistry with one another. Earlier in the video, I mentioned the dragon and how they actually had a live-action How to Train Your Dragon. That was a beautiful scene, and their chemistry really stuck out the most within that moment, and it made me, like, fall in love with their chemistry, and I really liked that. But, you know, now Jon's like, oh, we're related, because Sam and Bran finally got to discussing with each other and put the pieces together, and Sam goes to tell Jon what's up. And I love the moment when Sam is like, yeah, I read some scriptures and books, and Bran did Bran things. And it was a great big takeaway from that, because there's some nice interweaved humor into the Game of Thrones mythos, and I like when they have those little nice phrases and nice little lines that make you smirk and a little bit smile before the darkness starts to come. And like I said, that was a great moment, and seeing Jon's reaction was priceless. He was very caught off guard, and I'm glad that they just nipped that in the butt and got straight to it. Again, they really got a lot of the stuff that I wanted them to get out of the way in this first episode. They established everyone's reunions. They established where each and every one of our characters are. They established Cersei with Euron, which I'm really curious to see where that goes. I love Cersei's character. She's one of the most fascinating characters in the whole entire show. But again, I'm very, very, very curious to see where they go with that Euron. I do not think Euron is a major player in this show at all. I feel like he's gonna die off pretty damn fast. Some nice banter right there with Cersei and Euron, and I liked how she was so pissed about not having the elephants, and we know that is gonna have an establishment play later down the road. But one of my favorite characters, Bronn, you know, he's hooking up with some hookers, of course, how he usually is, but Cersei sends him some money and brings a crossbow to go kill Tyrion and Jaime. And personally, I don't think Bronn's actually going to do it. Bronn will most likely go to their side. He's closer with them than Cersei. I think his greed, we all know he's greedy, but I think his character arc through the last couple of seasons has progressed him into an era where I don't think money is everything for him. And I kind of think that's one of the most predictable routes that we do know where it's going to go, but it was nice seeing where they established that and brought back that crossbow from where Tyrion had killed their father. For other small little moments that I really did enjoy in the episode was when Sam found out that his father and brother had died. Even though they were pieces of shit, I mean, he had a lot of emotion to him, and I like how Daenerys just straight up told him. She's very straightforward, and I like that about her character. But one of the other moments that was honestly pretty scary and creepy was the moment where thank God Barrack and Tormund survived. You know, I haven't seen any trailers for this new season, but it was glad to see that they survived the wall. But seeing them walk through those corridors and then seeing the kid stabbed with the arms around him from the message from the Night King was terrifying. Like, holy shit. And then the subtle moment where Tormund's turned behind and I saw the eyelids open. I'm like, Tormund, turn around, don't get stabbed. And he kills him, and, you know, it's all good. Barrack stabs him and sets him on fire. But that was an excellent shot, and I really just gushed over that in just creepiness and just scaredness. And ending the episode on a perfect note was Jaime getting off his horse, looking around, smiling, and then sees Bran staring at him from a distance, and he goes, oh shit, I pushed that kid out a window. It's crazy to think that literally they have not seen each other since the first season. That's some of the crazy things, is that it's crazy to fascinate that, like, oh, these characters haven't seen each other in a while, or these characters have never met because we've been with them for so long. This is some of my moments. You know, everyone's talking about Avengers Infinity War being one of the biggest collaborative efforts, but this built up to season 8, and we're finally getting everyone together. I've always put Game of Thrones as a chess game. Everyone's getting put into their perfect places, especially in the last couple of seasons. And this season, this episode established it even more. Next season's preview did look to be a little bit more actiony and kind of getting more into the depth of what's going on. My personal thing is I think they're actually going to defeat the Night King by the 3rd episode, and then everything's going to be human versus human. That's kind of all what the show's been about. But again, I'm curious to see what your guys' thoughts are. What did I miss? What did I forget to talk about? I want to talk about it down below with you guys, down below in the comments. This is a big, fascinating, fun episode, and I absolutely enjoyed the hell out of this. Again, still iffy on the Theon and Yara storyline. I'm curious to see where that goes. I really do think we're done with Yara, and that kind of makes me a little bit disappointed. But I'm glad to see Theon is going to Winterfell. It's going to be another great reunion with some of the other characters. But again, let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you guys don't miss any content while I'm talking about Game of Thrones over on this channel. Plus, I do tons of early movie reviews. You guys are definitely not going to want to miss that. Thank you guys again, and make sure to check out Sandwich on Films down below for ways to see movies early. Guys, until next time, winter's coming, and stay classy.